Hey everybody, Lee Valentine Smith here. To the initiated, April March is a pop genius. As a musician, she's heavily influenced by French pop music and the very best of 60s Baroque, folk, and obscure symphonic soundtracks, as well as Spectre-esque girl group rock and roll. As an animator, she's worked on The Ren and Stimpy Show, Pee-wee's Playhouse, and Madonna's Who's That Girl video. But she's probably best known for her incredible catalog of music. Her discography goes way back to the late 80s. Remember those? The 80s? With her band, the first band that she had, called the Pussy Willows. At that point, she wasn't even April March yet. Her early recordings, as well as her animation and illustrations, are all credited to her real name, Eleanor Blake. The April March persona was born from an idea by one of her Ren and Stimpy collaborators. Speaking of collaborations, over the years, the busy artist has worked with a number of influential folks, including, but not limited to, Brian Wilson, Marilyn Wilson, and Jonathan Richman, LL Cool J, and even Jack White's new bride, Olivia Jean. Just a few of the many notables that she's collaborated with. While conquering nearly every media platform humanly possible, she's also the illustrator of We're Going to Be Friends by Jack White, which is available from his Third Man Books publishing company, as well as the author of the upcoming children's book called What Do You Do Now, which is coming in 2023 from Penguin Random House. Her latest album, In Cinerama, features even more cool collaborations and special guests. The guest list for this one includes Tony Allen, Marilyn Wilson, Andy Paley, Rachel and Petra Hayden, Lola Kirk, as well as the producer Mehdi Zanad. Originally issued last year as a special vinyl-only release for Record Store Day, the initial pressing sold out fast. Occasionally, copies will turn up on resale sites like eBay and whatnot, with prices ranging from $50 to $100 and even up per copy. But the crafty folks at Omnivore Recordings have wisely given the stunningly diverse album a much-deserved wider release on CD and various streaming platforms, with a new vinyl edition hopefully on the way soon. So as we celebrate the month of May, it's probably a great time to enjoy some excerpts from a very wide-ranging interview with April March. This is April March.
Hello.
Hi, this is Lee Smith. I'm calling for our interview today at 12:30. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. But now, before we get to this album and everything, how was the pandemic for you? I know you were busy during part of the pandemic, but how was it for you personally?
I kind of enjoyed it, really, because I got a lot of just sort of house cleaning done, business-wise, and in my house. But,
right.
and also I have 2 kids, so it was just, I don't know, I liked just being able to spend more time with them. And,
very good.
Yeah, I also, I had always wanted to start a consistent meditation practice. And since I had so much time, that happened too. I don't think that would have happened if there hadn't been a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't what it did to the world. That was hard to take. I remember, going to Los Angeles and just seeing, even more homeless and so many businesses shut down, places like car washes or motels, and just thinking about everybody has lost their jobs, and that was hard for me.
Right.
But
well, it's a crazy time.
Yeah, and then, but personally, I did sort of being sent to my room. It was productive for 2 years. But I also just really miss, I haven't been to France now since, November of 2019. So I miss being able to work there and all my sort of friends and family.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping that I'll be able to, resume going over there.
Right. Well, it's got to end sometime, right? Maybe.
Yeah, it's more just like I could go right now, sure, but like I've had friends who go and they get there, they test positive, and they're just quarantining there for a week, and then they have to come home. I can't really do that, and I'm looking forward to when we can just easily move around in the world. Even, I did some recording in Los Angeles and San Francisco in the fall, at the end of last year, and even that was kind of dicey.
Yeah.
So just this feeling that everything needs to be right around home, which is great with my kids, but I don't know, I don't have most of the musicians I work with and stuff are not in New York because it's too expensive, and most of them have moved away.
Right.
Like just about all of them. Really?
Well, I know that you recorded in Nashville during some of the pandemic era.
Mhm.
With
that was really
project
nice.
that project with Olivia Jean, I guess it was, right?
Yeah, that was great. They just invited me down to Nashville for a few days, and we recorded that, and we had so much fun, and it was great. I love the way it came out, because the studio is amazing, like an incredible tape studio, and the musicians, it was great. Like heaven on earth.
Had you recorded in the city of Nashville before that?
No, I never had, and I'd been to Nashville like a long time ago before that, but I didn't really get to see any of Nashville really, because it was the pandemic, so I was just staying put,
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was a different vibe of recording there than, say, L.A. or even, France or something.
Well, not really. I mean, I recorded it in Jack's studio, so that's just sort of anomalous. And it's a private studio. It's not like a public studio. You can't just like book time at that studio. Mm-hmm. So, I've recorded in a studio like that in France that's owned by Bertrand Burgalat. It's just his private studio. It's just a different thing because you're just kind of in someone's domestic realm, so it's you're not in like a commercial studio. And then because it was the pandemic, I only was there or we went down to Third Man just so I could see Third Man, and we shot the video there. I did 2 different trips. We recorded during the summer and then I came back.
Right.
I guess it was next spring. But I was really just between those 2 places. I didn't go anywhere in Nashville except Third Man and basically, Jack's house.
Well, that's all you need, really.
Right. But I had, I'd been there before, like a long time before that. Mm-hmm. And, I'd been to like Ryman, and I'd been to Tootsie's, and I don't know, Tootsie's must still be there. But
oh, yeah, it is. It'll never go away.
Yeah, and I'd been to, that was a long, long time ago. I was staying with Danny Amos, who was in Los Straitjackets.
Oh,
you know that band?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that, I remember doing that. And I went to Dollywood, which was amazing.
That's
not Nashville, though, but it's...
Yeah.
That's an
but you
important
get all,
spot.
that's all kitsch. I love it. Yeah. That is important for people like us who love that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't really think of Dolly as kitsch. She's an amazing song. I just love her. And then I went to Memphis, and I went to Al Green's recording studio. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Just to visit.
Yeah.
And Graceland. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I love Tennessee. It's beautiful.
Ah, very good. Very good. Well, now, whose idea was it to do that Palladium EP? Was it a combination of you and Olivia Jean, or did Jack White come up with that, or what?
Yeah, that was... So, I guess Jack was in the studio with Olivia around the time that I did the book with Jack.
Right.
Do you know about that book that I did with Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was in the studio with Olivia, and he emailed me and said, Olivia wants to cover Palladium. Do you have any tips? And I said, she should choose another song.
That's a good tip.
Because I was like, or she should just put on her full, like, Queen Latifah and just go for it. Because it's a really, excuse my French, it's fucking hard to sing.
Yeah.
It's probably the hardest, and Olivia doesn't speak French, so, even if you speak French, it's really hard to sing. It's super hard to sing.
Right.
I mean, that's the hardest cover to cover, to me.
That was a brave move.
So that's what I said, and he was like, okay. So then, flash forward maybe, I don't know, a year or two later, we were in New York backstage, and I said to Olivia, so what happened with Palladium? You didn't, because she gave me her album had just come out. Right. And she was like, oh, yeah, and I said, well, she said, I still want to do it. And I said, well, I'll help. I could help you with it. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, why don't we just try and do it together? We'll just fucking master that thing. Yeah. And then she was like, yeah, let's do it. And then Jack was like, yeah, let's do it. And, and then COVID hit.
Right.
So then couldn't just do it. And then we did it. And it was really hard to sing.
As you knew going into it. Yeah.
I did. And the funny thing is once we figured out I was going to do it, when Olivia decided we were going to do it, I was in Normandy recording a new album. And the musician that I was working with, his name is Norman Langall. He's actually the son of a really famous French producer, right, who collaborated a lot with Gainsbourg, like he did, Serge Gainsbourg, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so he did an album with Serge Gainsbourg where he did all the music and Serge Gainsbourg just wrote the lyrics.
Right.
Anyways, so I was with Norman. That's his dad. I was with Norman. I said, so I'm going to cover this song. Can you help me with it? And he was like, yeah, let's give it a whirl. And he was like, I can't sing this. And he's a French person. And I asked another French friend, they were like, this is impossible. Mm-hmm. Like, he couldn't even do it.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, this is going to be really interesting. So I just had to practice and practice and practice and practice. I mean, he did help me, actually. He did go over it with me, but it took us, I don't know, we worked on it for a couple hours one afternoon, and he was just like, whoa, this is really a fucking bear.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you've met a recording project that you haven't somehow mastered and maybe even better than what you thought it was going to turn out to be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I just do things that I do like a challenge, and it has to be fun, and I have to like the people I'm doing it with, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
So.
That's great. Yeah, but historically, you've had a lot of collaborations. I mean, looking back at your history, it's all over the place. Literally all over the world, collaborations.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm very lucky, I have to say.
Yeah, and very, very, very enjoyable to hear all these different styles. But it always, you can always tell it's you, and that's hard to do.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, it's hard to have that identity, even though, because you're all over the place, all of these genres, but yet it still has your kind of stamp on it.
Right. But I think that's also because I don't, I've been asked to do plenty of things that would be even more eclectic, but I just wasn't really feeling it. So I think I learned pretty early on, like in my first band, the Pussy Willows, there were a few things we did where I said yes because I was really young, and everybody's like, it's such a great opportunity. And then I just was in the studio in tears, like, I don't like this. This is not me.
No.
And so I don't do that. So I think it's really easy for me to inhabit something if I like it and if it makes sense. So it does sound like me.
Well, that's the mark of a great artist right there, is that you do what you want to do, and it turns out the way you wanted it to do. Because a lot of people make compromises, and they look back a few years and go, ugh, shouldn't have done that one.
Right.
Now, before we start talking about in Cinerama, I want to ask you, since I have not actually addressed you by name, should I call you Eleanor or should I call you April?
It doesn't really matter, but I think it's probably easier to just refer to me as April, because sometimes people are like, who's Eleanor? I don't know.
Right.
It's up to you. I don't care, though. But, I mean, if you want to talk to me, I'm just Eleanor. Is that what you mean?
Well, in general, because I was wondering if the April-March persona was sort of a character or a mask or something that you had somehow developed as like a secondary you in a way.
Well, it's really, at this point, I guess, it was in the early 90s. I was working as an animator, and I was working on this show, Ren and Stimpy, and I had started recording, and I wanted to keep my credits separate. All my animation credits are Eleanor Blake.
Right.
And the creator of Ren and Stimpy was like, well, why don't you, for your recording, how about April March? That sounds like a pop singer.
Yeah, it sure does.
So I was like, okay, that's a good idea. And so that's what I did. And then because I just kept making things under that name, it just stuck. But it was really just to keep the bodies of work separate. And then, some of so I don't know, if you look at credits and things, it's not usually produced by April March. It'll be produced by Eleanor Blake.
Right.
Sometimes. Or, like with the book that I did with Jack, that was not April March. It was Eleanor Blake who did the illustration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that. I like that.
Yeah, and if you go like on, if you were to watch some of these things I animated on, the credits say Eleanor Blake, not April March.
Yeah.
Because it's just separate. And I wrote an article for the New York Times, and that was Eleanor Blake that wrote that.
Yeah.
So it's really just
good.
like credits. It's not really like, that's all.
I was just wondering if you had made like a whole backstory and everything for this April March, and I'm doing air quotes, as I say that.
Not really. No, not at all. It's just me. But there's no like whatever wizard behind the curtain.
Yeah. Like Andy Kaufman or something, right?
It's just little old me.
Oh, well, that's good. That's all you need. But yeah, I was just wondering because when I first started hearing about you way back, because I've been on the journey with you for a long time, but when I first started reading about you, I thought that you were some French singer from very mysterious.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, no, it was really just to keep things separate.
Yeah, very good. But now, over the years, you've become sort of synonymous with the whole French 60s-ish, new wave-ish world, and people sort of lump you into that, no matter what kind of sound you're making. Yeah,
and I don't know, that's fine with me. It's just sort of, I think it's just because, I'm pre-internet, really, so I made these records, and people weren't making yay covers, or nobody cared about Serge Gainsbourg at that point in America, really. People weren't sort of thinking about that. And even in France, it was the same way. Like in the 90s, I don't know if you've heard Chrominance Decoder Triggers, which I did with Bertrand Burla. When I met him, I don't know, maybe in 92 or 93, he was like, or I don't remember when, early 90s, he was like, what are you doing? Because French people don't even care about this music. He was just completely gobsmacked. And even there were songs that he didn't know that I knew. So, I think it just was that this type of music was really under the radar. And then also, when I did cover the song that became Chick Habit, that was called Les Tomber les Filles, the Gainsbourg estate, the publishing, they gave me a piece of it. They gave me a piece of, but that's because it was like, yeah, sure, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way if someone went now and said, could I have a piece of, no way would that happen now. Because, Gainsbourg is very well known and very popular, and he's covered by lots of bands and musicians. But that wasn't the case in the 90s. It was sort of like French pop music had been a little bit forgotten, I think, even in France. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
Every time I would say, well, what about, blah, 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 Chantal Kelly or Jillian Hills, who became kind of popular. I can't remember what TV show she was put on. Like maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. And then all of a sudden she became sort of, I can't remember what that was, but there was a song that was placed in a TV show and everybody was like, whoa! But in the 90s I was like, what about Jillian Hills? And everybody's like, what? Even in France, they were like, Jillian Hills.
So funny. So you're a pioneer.
Well, I don't know. I just think I don't think I was a pioneer because there were other people, There was Mick Harvey, made the Pink Elephants. There were definitely other people listening and doing this, There wasn't a ton of them. But, and there was bands like Ivy, the singer was French, and she did a cover of, I can't remember, Comment te dire adieu, I think. No, I can't remember what she did. But, yeah, it was sort of I wasn't definitely not the only one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would call me a pioneer, but yeah, I think it was just starting to reemerge cosmically, or whatever, however you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, I think it worked out well in your favor. And also, as a record collector, every time that I see one of your records, I mean, there's a few that I've never heard of. I'll see a cover or whatever and go, what is that one? You know, I mean, there's so many different things to collect for you. It's like you're sort of the Kinks or the Beatles or something of yourself. You know, it's like, wow, there's another one, and there's like some weird EP from Argentina or something.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
I don't know. Every time I see
I
one,
do.
it's like,
There are
where
a
are
few
these from?
collectors. Yeah, there's one in particular that will show up at things with things for me to sign, and I've never seen these things that he brings.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what is that? So
yeah, I'm glad it's getting a wide release now, because like you said, those kind of collector's items like that, you see them on eBay and stuff, and they go up and up and up, $50, $75, $100, and then the average person can't get a hold of it unless they listen to it on YouTube or something, and then you don't get anything from that.
Yeah, and then yeah, and also it's not really why I make music. I mean, I do want the music to go out into the world. It's not
right.
that I'm, I don't know, against that at all. It's just I'm not a business person or a record label or anything, so I don't really know how to do all that kind of stuff. Because everybody's like, just put it out yourself, put your music out yourself, and this just doesn't interest me. It's a ton of work.
Yeah, and
I'd rather
it's expensive.
actually just make the things, and so.
Yeah, so that was your first time with your own label, basically?
Yeah, and it's not like I made a label. I just, made up a name, because the form on Record Store Day was like, what's the name of your label? So I just made up a name. But I mean, I never say never, but I don't think I'm going to be putting anything else out myself if I can help it, because it's just, I don't know, it's not very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, over the years, you've been on a bunch of different labels, but now how does that feel to you as an artist? I'm sure at some point major labels came calling and like, hey, we can do this for you, just sign here.
Mhm.
Did that happen at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, probably the most major label I was on was oh God, now I'm forgetting.
Eurovision?
No, that's a tiny
right.
indie label. No, Mammoth.
Ah, okay.
Mammoth, which was bought by Disney and became Hollywood Records, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was like a imprint of Disney.
Ah, okay.
That's
very
when
good.
I was with the Dust Brothers. Yeah, so that's probably the majorest. And then, there was PS. I was on PS.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Now, how does that feel?
Indie labels. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, to go from the bigger distribution labels to doing your own thing, is there an artistic freedom in there, or would you just rather not deal with that at all?
Well, no, I mean, none of the labels I've ever been on, even, like Mammoth and Disney, I don't do stuff with, I don't do stuff with people that are like, you can't do this, you can't do that. I just don't.
Right.
So I don't even know what that's like. Like, I've just never gotten myself into that position.
Oh, that's great.
So, because that's I don't want to do that. And I think that has to do with some of my experience my early experience as an animator working on commercials, where you'd have these clients come in and they'd be like, well, we actually want the hat to be red.
Right.
So then you have to go and redo. They had no idea how much work that was.
Right. They didn't care.
Change the color of a hat. Yeah, and I just was like, fuck this. I don't want to deal with that kind of money and whatever. I'm just going to do my thing.
You shouldn't have to.
Well, but it's also like I don't think that so many people are wanting to hear music in French. It's not really a major label type of a shtick that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might have been like, oh, this is great, but can we just not have any French whatsoever? And I don't really want that kind of restriction.
Yeah.
So
well, that's so great that the record store day picked up on that, because obviously the people who, frequent the record store day events obviously know who you are, and they like that kind of thing. The fact that you are an indie artist in many ways.
Yeah, I've never been a major label artist.
Right.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I've definitely been distributed by major labels, but that's still an indie label being distributed by a major.
Right.
But, I was never on, like, whatever, Warner Brothers or Virgin or any of those, so I don't even know what that's like.
Yeah.
A real major label.
Oh, that's good, though. But now, Omnivore is a very cool label, because I know those guys, and I know that they love music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good place
for
your
I think,
stuff.
most of them, and I think most of them are from Capitol.
Yeah.
So it's true. Like, I did do, like, guest appearances on major label stuff, like stuff that went through Capitol and stuff, but, and soundtracks and stuff, definitely major label. But, the Omnivore people are so nice. I love them. They're great.
Yeah, and they love to do reissues and stuff. Do you think at some point that they could gather up all your stuff and put out this massive April-March box set?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm just, we just started working together, so we'll see how Cinerama goes. But so far, they're great to work with, and I love they did a great job on the art director. Greg Allen did a great job on the sleeve and the packaging and everything. It looks really nice. Oh,
yeah, it does. Now, do you think eventually it will be on vinyl, but like the Omnivore version of the original vinyl?
I hope so. It's just not that simple because of all the vinyl problems. That's the hope, is to put it out on vinyl. But it's also, I guess, how many did I press? I guess I pressed 1,800 or 1,900 copies. So, that was just last year.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think I think they sold pretty quickly. So, but definitely none went to Europe. There's definitely none that went to Europe because there weren't enough. Because I said, that at the distributor it oversold. They had more orders than they could sell. So
it's better that than to have them stuck. Like you're stuck with an extra box or two, or like they sit in your garage.
Well, that's
for
why
a long
I
time.
did that, because I was like, I don't know, I don't want to be stuck with all this. And the head of Record Store Day, Michael Kurtz, was really, really nice. He was super helpful and supportive with me, and he told me, he said, "This is how many I think you should press. This is what I, blah, 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 and this is where I think you should get the sleeves done, and blah, 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 blah." And then Third Man helped with the pressing, and so I had a lot of help with it. But I did go with the conservative I mean, I think I pressed less than actually he told me to press, because I didn't want to be stuck with boxes of records. I was like, that's
right.
a nightmare. I don't want that.
Yeah, you'd have to unload them somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm not really doing shows because of COVID, so there's not the just like selling them at shows thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that before we start talking about the tracks on the record. What is the future of your live shows here at this point? Do you have a band ready to go when all this does lift?
I mean, I do in France, and that's always been the case. It's easy for me, to get a band together in Europe. But I don't know so many local musicians. And also it's really hard for musicians to tour with me because there's so many different, they have to learn all kinds of different things. And especially the songs that I recorded, the ones from Triggers and Chrominance Dakota, they're super hard to play.
Right.
So you have to play and then you have to play the new stuff. It's all different. It's not one band who wrote everything for, and you know what I mean? It's challenging for people to like pick up and, play all these different styles and then obviously, Tony passed away last year during the pandemic, the drummer that was in Cinerama, and that was very sad.
Oh yeah.
So,
yes.
But
I was
even
wondering
that,
if there was...
like a drummer can't. He was psyched to do some shows when it was going to come out, but that was before COVID. But that's another thing. I don't know. I mean, you have to be a very good drummer to try and play like Tony Allen. It's a little bit of a tall order. Like, here, we're going to do these 3 songs. And, because those songs were actually written for Tony, to record with Tony. They weren't sort of random, except for one of them is an older song of Meddy's, the one called Californian Fall.
Oh, yeah.
We just thought that would be perfect for Tony to play on, but the other ones were written specifically for him.
Oh, very good. Now, I heard somewhere that you sort of tailored the sessions in order to accommodate him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because, it was such a long shot that I met him on a TV show in Paris, and I can't remember when that was, and then I just kept asking. I would write to his manager, and, because at the TV show, Tony was like, yeah, sure, of course, and then so I just kept writing to his manager for over a year, and then finally, I feel like it was sometime around Christmas, the day after Christmas or Christmas Day, I don't know, it was right around Christmas, his manager wrote and said, okay, Tony will be available for you, in whatever, the week of February 1st. It was literally like 5 weeks away.
Oh, man.
And so I called Mitty and I said, okay, we got to write some songs really fast. Are you up for it? And he was like, sure, let's go.
All right. So you had a deadline.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, that was when he was available. And so the first batch of songs that we did because we did 2 different sessions. So the first batch was Open Your Window, Romeo, I think Rolla Rolla, and Stand in the Sun, maybe.
Oh, nice.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Incredible
so we wrote,
guest
those.
list.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's Marilyn Wilson, who's just my hero for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the list of players on this thing, and it's like an all-star cast. No wonder you call it Cinerama.
It is. And then, the French musicians, a lot of Americans might not know who those musicians are, but those are some of the best musicians in France at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very good.
And not, and it's never with me, it's not just like musicianship. They're just great people.
Yeah. There's a definite art feeling in there, too, because, obviously Mehdi is an artist, because we know from the package.
Yeah, he's an architect, actually. He teaches architecture. He's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that back cover of the Cinerama Dome.
Yeah. Yeah, so those, all of those were done while we were recording. He was going around taking pictures and sketching.
Right.
And do you have the CD?
I do. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so all of those etchings in there are from the recording sessions. While we were working on the record, in his downtime, he was going around and taking photos and sketching these places. So we put them in the booklet.
Is that public storage place?
Of the.
I meant to ask you: is that public storage place close to the Hollywood Boulevard exit? Because it looks like there's a place that reminds me of that.
Yeah, it's down, on the way towards Silver Lake and Echo Park.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, and then of course his Cinerama Dome is just incredible.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, and I love the fact that you use the font because I've got it's a Mad World poster, and that was like one of the biggest things that when that place opened, it has that font at the bottom. It says in Cinerama.
Well, yeah, because we had the logo, right? And then we tried some other fonts, and I said, just let's use the actual marquee font.
Yeah.
For April, March, and that's what I sent. I think that's probably what I sent. The art director was a photo I found on the internet of the premiere. It might have been It's a Mad World.
Yeah, I think that was the first one that was on there.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it was. Yes, because I said, let's just use the font so that it looks like kind of like a little lobby card or something. So it looks like something that actually would have been made by the Cinerama Dome.
It does. It does. Now, did you have to ask for permission, or did you just go ahead and take it like a true punk?
We didn't. I don't think we had to ask for permission. We just used it.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how that
works. To do it.
I mean,
they can't sue you or anything, so it's okay.
Oh, I hope not. But I imagine that Omnivore has looked into that. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they have. Yeah, they're very thorough.
Yeah.
They're gonna go, wait a minute, we're going to get sued with this one. We better not put this one out.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, you had a year to live with it. Now, is there a personal favorite on this record? I mean, I've got a couple of personal favorites so far, but I mean, is there one that really resonates with you after a year of living with it?
I mean, I think my favorite track on there is "Open Your Window, Romeo." And then nice. I really like "Stand in the Sun" and "Californian Fall." But I think "Californian Fall" is just like, I just love Marilyn's voice on there, and the whole experience of being in the studio with her was just, it was something I dreamed of for like decades.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's just, so I love it. There's actually, we have like an a cappella mix of that song where you can really hear Marilyn.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, there's no instruments or anything. It's just completely. I don't know. I just love her. So
Oh, that is
that
so
one is
great.
very special. And also, she was just what I would hope for. She was super, just really nice and cool and like, wow. Because, you know, sometimes you meet your heroes and it can be a little disappointing.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, that's why I've never met Bob Dylan.
Yeah, she was just amazing, and she sounded amazing. She came in and, you know, we had a part for her, and she was like, oh, that's too high for me. How about this?
Right.
And we all just kind of fell over in our chair, just like, oh my God. Because it's so, I don't know. I mean, it's just so unique.
Oh, and yeah.
It's the Beach Boys sound. But, you know, she sang on just about every Beach Boys album through the 60s.
Oh, I know. But it seems like everybody on this record brings a whole lot of history with them.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Very good. And you can hear that history. It's like little ghosts that sort of fly around when you're playing the record. I love that feeling.
Oh, I also like Ride or Divide a lot. That's a personal favorite of mine.
Ah, very good. Any certain reason why?
I just, Mehdi came up with some just vocal arrangements for Lola, and I guess it's Lola and Bennett are singing on that, and they're just beautiful. And I don't know, I just love that song. I like it. It's like a Chocolate Watch Band song or something.
Yeah. Well, I love Down the Line.
That was
a
the
cool
aim.
cover.
Oh, yeah, I love Down the Line. That's a great one. I love Down the Line.
Yeah.
I love that movie. So that's the whole story with that. The whole story with Cinerama was initially this friend of mine who's a documentary film director. His name is Jonathan Coet, and he directed an amazing documentary about his mother called Tarnation,
right.
which I think, I don't know, maybe that's about 15, 20 years old. It was produced by Gus Van Sant, and Jonathan made it, I think, for like $120 on iMovie, and it's an incredible film. Anyways, so Jonathan asked me to record 2 songs with Mehdi, because he's also a Fugu fan,
right?
For his new film. And he said, I want you to do a cover of Down the Line, and then another song, just do 2 songs. So I was like, yeah, and Mehdi was like, yeah, because Mehdi loves Jonathan's film too. So we recorded those 2 songs, and that was the beginning. And then it went so well, we just thought, we should just make a whole album. So then we started just building on that. But that was the, you know, whatever the backstory of Cinerama.
Ah, very good. So it just expanded.
Yeah, so I guess like I was at Jonathan would screen movies at his house and have these parties, and he screened Bless the Beast and the Children. Just such a good movie.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what Down the Line is from.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, then I got he was already obsessed with that soundtrack, and then I got obsessed with it, and he was like, "What? Why don't you record a cover for my new film of Down the Line?"
Oh, yeah. What a great combination of events that came forward for this record. I mean, and plus, it's all over the place stylistically. It's not like it doesn't stick anywhere, you know, and that's the best kind of record.
Good. It was very hard to sequence because of that.
I bet.
But, yeah. No, I think that record just kind of had a little bit of a life of its own. It was sort of like, okay, can you do this? And then, I don't know, people just, you know, just based on who was saying yes and who was involved. It just kept going.
Oh, it turned out great, and you can't beat Liftoff for a great album opener.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
It really sets
so it was
the stage.
Liftoff and Down the Line.
Yeah.
That were the first ones we did.
Yeah, I love it. Well, now that brings me to my next question: is what's next? I mean, obviously you're so prolific that you probably have another 2 or 3 records in the can by now, right?
Well, I have one record in the can, which I love, which was recorded. It was kind of finished during the pandemic. I guess it was mixed during the pandemic. That one was recorded in Normandy with this French duo that are amazing called Staplin, which is spelled Staplin, like Staplin.
Right.
And that they are Norman Langolf, who I mentioned before, who was helping me with Palladium, and Arno van Colen. And so there's that album. And then there's the drummer Toby Dammit, who's played with me for many years. He's also on that album. So it's a lot more minimal. It doesn't sound minimal. It's just that Arno and Norman are playing all the instruments basically, and then there's also Toby Dammit playing drums. And Toby Dammit is he was Iggy Pop's drummer for many years, and then now he's touring drum. I think he actually plays. He's a touring member of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Wow, that's good company.
And also The Residents and Silver Apples. He's been doing things with the Silver Apples guy. So
all over the place.
Yeah, he's an incredible, incredible drummer. So he's on the Staplin album, and so that album is now finished. So we're looking for a label for that album. And then I've started another album with some friends that used to be in Los Cincos, which I did a couple albums with.
Mm-hmm.
So that just started up. I guess we just finished. We did 2 tracks in October.
Oh, wow.
So they're based in San Francisco.
Ah, very good. So you have stayed completely busy this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, because there's nothing else to do. And then I sold another children's book, so that that's starting up. Like I just wrote this one, and I thought it was going to be too busy to illustrate it, so we got another illustrator to illustrate it, which is a French illustrator who's incredible.
This is the one that comes out in 2023, right?
Yes. And so, yeah.
Very good.
So that's
left?
Another children's book.
Well, what's left that you want to do that you haven't done? I mean, 1 year of your world would be plenty for most of the people that I talk to. And in one of your albums that are all over the place would be plenty for most bands. They go, well, we did that one good album, and they can ride on that.
Well, you're so nice. Let me think. Wait, hold on, because I don't know, are you going to mention the children's book?
Sure.
The upcoming okay, let me just get the illustrator's name for you. Hold on a second.
Okay. I think I have it here, but go ahead and let's confirm it.
I don't think you would have it yet, because...
No, I don't have the book. I mean, I have the name. I saw it on the website.
Oh, who do you have?
Now I can't see it, but yeah, I made a note of it. That's the what do you do now book, right?
Oh, it's Marc Boudavant. So that's
okay.
Marc, and his last name is Boutevant. Wait, is that right? No, it's actually, yeah.
Okay.
And he's one of the best illustrators in children's book. Very, very well known in France. So I'm very, very lucky to get him. Yeah, when he said yes, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, well,
so
you're an
very
international
excited
sensation.
about that. Yeah. Well, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, I think I did get cast in a French film, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow, you literally are all over the place.
Yeah, I think, I really miss France with the whole pandemic thing. So I think, the next thing is I just want to be able to get back to being more working over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, before I let you go, I want to ask you this. We're talking about the songs and the song styles and all that. What to you is pop?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, when you think about the word popular, like populist, it's just sort of like whatever is for kind of everybody. And
right.
I don't know, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's not cool. That's, so I was more drawn to like punk, which isn't really supposed to be for everybody, sort of.
Right.
I mean, it is. I think it is, but I guess pop is sort of, I like that idea that it's sort of music for everybody, and that it does range from like, I don't know, Connie Francis to like, I don't know, now my brain is drawing a blank. Or, I guess even like Casey Musgraves at this point is pop. And she was country. I don't know, it's just, I like that it sort of transcends all genres. When you say, like I'm a pop artist, but there's like country in there's rock, there's punk, there's chanson. It's all, and that's called pop music.
Right.
I don't know. I guess it's just a mix of everything.
Well, what to you makes a good
you
pop
could also,
song?
Well, for me, it's kind of always about the melody and the rhythm. And I really like drums and I really like melody.
Right.
So, I don't know. This is a really hard question. Yeah, it's just something that I want to sing or I want to dance to or something makes a good pop song.
Sure.
I heard that song recently that came out called Chez Long, and I was like, that's a great pop song. It's sort of like Cannonball, like the Breeders song.
Oh,
you know that song that just came out called Chez Long they're called Wet Leg. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
I mean, that's a pop song,
very
right?
entertaining. Yeah, and they're a very entertaining band because they don't take themselves too seriously. Yeah,
and I don't know. I heard it once and I liked it immediately. I don't know, I mean, I've only heard it once, but I was like, oh, I got this immediately and I like it. So I think that's
pop.
good.
Yeah, that's pop right there.
Yeah, like I don't need to listen to this a million times to decide whether I like it or not. And, that's happened, that happened when the first time I listened to Cannonball by the Breeders or Stereolab or, and then same thing happened when actually, that's not true. I had to listen to that a bit. But I think that is a good pop song when it's just immediately, it's like a good piece of art. You don't need to sort of analyze it. You just have an immediate experience with it.
Absolutely. Wow. And a lot of people would put you into that, too. It's like, they would say, oh, that April March record, that's a good pop record.
Well, I would hope so, because that's, in the end, these are sort of my God-given talents. It's not doing it for me, really. It's supposed to be shining a little light on the world. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't know, I think that's the purpose of art is just to kind of to share with the world. I love this James Baldwin quote. I think it's from I can't remember which speech. I think it was like a speech in Harlem for a graduating class. I think it's called the Artist's Struggle for Integrity. And he just, I don't know the quote, but just paraphrases. The paraphrase of the whole thing is just that he says, it's the artist's job and the poet's job to describe, the experience of living, because, lawyers can't do that, politicians can't do that, doctor, that's not their job, but it's the job of the artist, and that's what you should be doing. Thank you. Thanks for the support.
All right. Well, I hope we can talk again soon.
Okay, great. All right, have a great day.
Thank you again, and we'll see you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.